I'm Lisa Dahl, health and well-being coach, and welcome to Getting Healthy Without Rules. This show is about understanding the things that impact your wellness and finding ways to improve it. We support a non-diet, no-rule approach to health and wellness. Health and wellness is a moving target. We all have different needs and opportunities to improve it. This allows you to make the best choice with the information that you have right now. It helps you to be present, flexible, and resilient. In addition, I support you from shifting from judgment to curiosity and offering yourself self-compassion. It is time that we all learn to be a little bit kinder to ourselves. As we regularly point out in the show, many things impact our wellness, and most of them are interconnected. In today's episode, we explore empowerment through fashion. Fashion is often seen as a superficial pursuit, but it can actually have a profound impact on our overall wellness. When we feel good about the way we look, it can boost our self-confidence and make us feel positive and optimistic. This can lead to a number of physical and mental benefits, such as improved sleep, reduced stress, increased resilience, and a greater sense of well-being and fulfillment. Be sure to stay to the end for Christina's tip on creating a wardrobe that you love. In today's episode, I am privileged to welcome Cristina Boghosian, a fashion expert who is passionate about helping women feel confident and empowered through their clothing choices. Cristina is the founder and lead stylist of Empower the Sass. She aims to banish the stereotypes placed around aging and is pro-aging and passionate about learning ways to stay young and current while embracing the middle-aged years. Cristina, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, it's going to be a great one.
Yeah.
I see firsthand the power that clothing has on the impact on my clients as well as myself. I refer to it as the power of the tiny tag. The number on our clothing can negatively impact our emotions and how it impacts our bodies and how we feel in our bodies. If it is a smaller number, we are jumping up and down. We are thrilled. Then, when the number starts to creep up to the larger side, we start to feel disempowered, even guilty and shamed. Why are clothes so complicated?
I think I love the tiny tag thing. I think it's such a good way to describe it. Honestly, I think it's just because from a very young age, I think we are conditioned to see beauty as what is perceived. So let's say, for example, and I'm going to totally age myself right now, but when I was a kid, the waif look was in. And so I'm talking like maybe 80s, right? So the waif look was in, and I have never been a waif. I will never be a waif. I've always had curves. So in my mind, I was looking at a magazine or a photo, and I would look at that waif look and say, well, geez, if this is the portrait of beauty,
it's not me.
It's not me, right? So I think that from when we were very young, that starts to happen. And then, honestly, I tell my clients, so sizing has become so crazy over the years. So you can have the same pair of pants in the same exact style, in the same exact size, and they fit you totally differently. You know what I tell my clients? Cut the tag out. It's an arbitrary number. It means nothing. It's one of those things that has so much power over you, and you don't even really need it. You can look great as a size 16.
Whatever that size is.
Right.
Right.
And you can look great as a size 2. It doesn't matter.
Right.
It's just a number, and it's just a measure of nothingness, right?
If we were only taught that it was a measure of nothingness. One of the examples that I experienced this summer was I was buying hiking boots. And I ended up buying 4 different pairs of hiking boots. I would buy them, I would take them back, and they were all different sizes. Did not matter at all. I didn't care that it was a size 7 or a size 8
right.
or a size 9. It didn't make a difference. If I was talking about a dress and it was this size versus that size or another size, I could have had a total meltdown.
Yeah, I know.
The old me would have had a total meltdown. I would have been able to manage the meltdown now.
Yeah.
Because I worked hard to take away that power of the tiny tag.
here's the other thing too. I mean, you can be, okay, so let's say,
and try not to use numbers because it can be triggering on sizes. So let's try to keep it in general terms.
So let's say you have a dress and it's a smaller size.
Perfect.
And you used to be that smaller size. Okay. And so now you're no longer that smaller size for whatever reason, right? You're just not. When you put that dress on, if it maybe zips a little bit, but you're like uncomfortable and you're like, everything feels so stringent and you can't move and you don't feel good, going up to the next size or the next 2 sizes will actually make you feel better because you're not stuffed into that smaller size. And you actually look better because you're not stuffed into that smaller size. So if you can just get past, that's why I said cut the tag out. It doesn't matter.
I even tell my clients when they go shopping, go with a friend, walk through the entire store, point out what you like, have your friend pick out the clothes, the sizes, bring it in, do not look at the tag, do not even look in the mirror, get dressed. When something feels good, it easily goes on.
Yes.
Then look in the mirror to see how you look and how you feel.
That's right.
Leave the tag out of it because that's the part that disempowers you and makes you feel horrible.
Yes.
It's that judgment that kills you.
Yes, it's awful.
In your experience, how do women you work with generally feel about their wardrobe?
So I think a lot of it is stereotype driven. And I think that sometimes when we play into those stereotypes, we don't fully live to our fullest potential. So clothes have power, right? And I believe that. And if you don't believe that, I think you're missing a huge part of living to your fullest potential. So I think there's pieces of women's wardrobes that they love, and then pieces that maybe they think they should wear because they're a certain age. They have their status is different now. They're a different size. So they might think, well, geez, I'm no longer the smaller size I used to be. So now if I wear a bright color, I'm going to draw attention to myself, and I don't want that, right? But I love this bright color. So the seed of my soul,
lose a piece of themselves.
The seed of my soul loves this bright color, but I can't wear it now because I'm a mom. I'm a bigger size. I'm over 40. I don't want to draw attention to myself. So because of that, I think that, like I said, there's part of it that makes them happy, and then there's parts of it that maybe.
It goes to the messaging that we have been taught. And part of, what I believe is that just because we have received all these messages and information, it's time to question, is that really true? Is that serving me?
Right.
Because just because you've heard it doesn't make it the truth.
That's right.
How do you create your own truth in what's important and what works for you?
Right. And I think that that's part of living intuitively, right? Just listening to your gut, because I'm a big proponent of listening to your gut in all the ways, because it just really, it doesn't ever steer you wrong,
I call it body speak.
Yeah.
Learning to speak. We all learn how to, communicate with everybody around us. When we take that time to connect with our own selves and to learn the language of our own bodies, there's more conversation and messaging going on. And when you quiet down, you can hear the smaller voices as opposed to when it's screaming and unhappy. Tuning into those inner messages makes all the difference.
Right, and not necessarily making yourself smaller to please everybody else around you, right?
Doing it for others, learning what's important to you makes all the difference. And that's how you gain your power back. Does the perfect wardrobe exist?
Oh gosh. So I think so. I do. I think that it exists only if it's aligned with who you are, like intrinsically in your soul. And I think it is if it's aligned with your lifestyle, because if you are a stay-at-home mom, your wardrobe might look very differently than somebody who's a corporate executive.
So it's the perfect wardrobe for you.
Right? And for you in that moment, in that season of life. That's right. So, you could be a stay-at-home mom, and then all of a sudden you're shifting to corporate woman. So now you can't wear, you
can't wear those yoga. You're not wearing those yoga pants to the corporate luncheon.
That's right.
Just like when we, escape corporate life, we, depending on what your personality is. For me, it was okay. That goes in the back of the closet.
Right.
I don't want to even see that again.
Or you just say goodbye to it altogether.
That's even better.
Because if you put it in the back of your closet, it's in the back of your mind too.
Oh, I
so
love
like
that.
you can sort of like, you can walk into the back of your closet and pick it up. And then if that stirs a negative emotion, then all of a sudden you're in a tailspin, right? And you're like, oh, well, I used to wear this when I was here in this place in my life, and I'm not here anymore. And so, it
doesn't serve you.
It doesn't serve you. And if it doesn't spark joy, it should just go away.
Love that.
Yeah.
Are you a minimalist?
Oh, well, not in my clothes. Well, sometimes I am. Sometimes, no. I have, my wardrobe has changed so much over the years. I used to be a lot of like just, I love a bold statement, right? Clearly. But sometimes a bold statement is, I believe in dressing for the occasion too, right? So I think that if you, and my lifestyle is different. So I had so many clothes that I were like all statements, right? And then when I was going to do something that like wasn't so statement-y, I didn't have anything to wear. So, now I'm a mix of like great basics with some, but I'm a minimalist in that I think that you should have the right pieces. So, it doesn't necessarily have to be...
It's purposeful.
20, that's right. 20 white shirts.
Right.
You can have one or two.
What about the impact of aging? What are some of the stereotypes, and how do you help clients who are adjusting to their changing bodies?
Oh, that's a big one. That's like, I'm almost like a therapist in that way.
Oh, I'm sure.
There's a lot of stuff that gets unearthed about body image and all of that. I think, talking to them about giving themselves grace. This is why I love your work. Like, I don't like rules. I like them. I think we need some of them. I just don't think we need so many, right? So I think that sort of, there's a lot of new stuff now that, on social media, and people are like really like talking about ageism and like banishing stereotypes. And so I think that has really helped.
It's starting to creep in.
Yes.
It's on the table.
Yes.
It's not where it needs to be, and it's starting to creep into that space.
Yes, and it's good, because now we're talking about health issues, women's health issues that people didn't talk about before. And now we're starting to talk about, how your body can really serve you. And like, I try to shift the focus on like, instead of a size, what can your body,
what does your body do?
Yes, right. Think about all the great things that your body can do for you, right? And think about your legs. Like, think about how strong they are. They're holding up your entire body.
Right.
And then when you shift it from that perspective, you're like, oh. And I think middle-aged women just in a different place now. Like, I think that there's a lot of like, oh, I think, my whole thing is like, with, sorry,
It's okay.
with regard to like being in that space right now with middle age, it's like you're, oh my gosh, what am I looking for? Your life experiences really change you.
How to accept where you are at this moment in time.
That's right.
And one of the things I say is, as long as you're breathing, there's more right with your body than wrong.
That's right.
And we, as a health and wellness coach, I talk a lot about what your body can do. Where has your body been?
That's awesome.
When we have young children and they grow, we celebrate their changing bodies.
Yeah.
Oh, she grew 3 inches.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. And it goes on and on and on. And then all of a sudden, when we start to become women, all of a sudden, it's not okay for our bodies to change. And we feel judged and shamed if our bodies are not that vision of what we think it's supposed to be.
Right.
And it has to do with our thoughts. how do we shift our thoughts to be on that intrinsic, on what really brings us joy? What are we here for? And our bodies are not here to please another human being. Our bodies are here to help us experience our life, our experiences.
Right.
And when we shift it, it starts to make a difference. And it takes time, patience, practice. This is no quick fix.
No. I think a lot of it too has to do with the fact that, as we are aging, we're sort of, taught that your body is slowing down. Your inner organs are slowing down. You're not as sexy anymore because you're old now, right? Well, I don't think that at all.
Right.
I think middle-aged women are fierce in so many ways.
Because they start to get rid of that protective layer,
Yes.
and they start to become empowered.
Yes.
And, I've only got so much time. I'm going to show up and I'm going to claim where I am
That's
today.
right. And that kind of confidence is super sexy, right? Or at least I think it is.
and that goes to what is somebody's definition of beauty, of sexy? How do we broaden that definition to
Right.
be more inclusive, no matter what you look like, no matter where you are,
Right.
and standing in your own power
Right.
is what beauty is. What is authentic beauty? It is not about the color of your hair or your eyes. It is about your spirit and how you are presenting
Right.
and showing who you truly
Or
are.
about the size in your jacket, right?
Cut it out.
Cut it out.
When women don't fit into a straight size, and the straight size is what you typically find in the average everyday store, how do you help them find clothes that make them confident and empowered?
So this is a good question. I think that accessories are great in this way. I think that something that doesn't have a size, right? That maybe something with an elastic waistband, or something that something that's free flowing, not so
Constricted.
constricted, right? So I think that helps a lot. A lot of women love the that layer on top that's sort of flowy, regardless of what size you are, because it's comfortable, but it can look pretty. So a scarf, or a fun shoe, or a fun pair of earrings, something that
Shifts the focus.
Yes.
That doesn't have judgment to go with it.
Yeah.
And it just kind of perks it up.
yeah.
What about social norms? How do we comply, or even should we comply with all the social norms placed on us with age?
Oh God, I could go on about this for another 3 hours. No. I mean, I think that social norms are who makes up? So here's where I become very passionate, okay? Because it's who makes up those norms, and who makes up those numbers, and who makes up that
The person who's trying to make money that year.
Okay, so that blanket statement is it's so ridiculous. I can't even, because I think that I just don't think that I don't think that anybody should comply to a blanket statement ever, because it might not work for you. And why is your word law? Why are you telling me what I can do, what I can be, how I should dress? What makes you queen or king or whatever,
You're saying claim your power, because you can be the expert on what's best
Right,
for you.
because nobody knows you like you know you.
That is a fact.
Right? So it's okay, so you're telling me that because I'm over 40, I shouldn't wear a bright lipstick. I shouldn't wear a stiletto shoe. I shouldn't wear something that's, more tightly fitted. No. Why?
So I have a question, and one of my many questions that I have. So recently I was working with one of my clients, and she's uncomfortable in her body, and she is in her early 70s,
Okay.
going to a wedding, and the amount of stress that she felt trying to figure out what to wear, what was appropriate, what was going to feel good. How would you help that person? What would you do for her?
I would tell her, so I would ask her first what parts of her body challenge her, because I think that's important to know. And there are ways that you can make something, a part of your body that you might not be so comfortable with, you can work around it. And I don't like to use the word conceal it, but you can enhance other parts of your body so that the part of your body that you're not comfortable with because there's always one part that challenges people the most, right?
It's their hips or their belly or their tush,
that's
or
right.
whatever
right.
it is.
And so it's something, right? And so I guide them to parts of their body that they do like, right? So, you may not love your midsection because you've had a couple kids, you're in menopause or whatever, but you might still love your arms. Okay, so let's show off your arms, right? And you might still have great legs that you love. Okay, let's show off your legs.
Always finding the positive.
Yes.
Focusing on what brings you joy, or what just, even if there's a part of your body that doesn't bring you joy, what is that part that you can accept today?
Right.
And let's work with that.
Right.
How can we wear what we love and still feel appropriate for our age? And I think you've kind of touched on that. But I definitely have had some instances, and I'm not a big shopper, and I recently was out with a friend and I love something and she says, well, that's so youthful looking. And then I regretted not buying it.
Because my response would have been like, awesome, I want to.
And I was kind of like, and I was thinking, do I, don't I? And I let the moment pass because it wasn't that important to me. And it still came with that judgment.
Yeah.
And it kind of felt like, oh, well then, am I not going to want to wear it around her? Because now I feel like it has an opinion.
Right. So I get a lot of these kinds of questions with clients, like, how can I look current without looking like my 15-year-old daughter?
That's a great question. What's the answer to that?
So you can. So you can still wear, so rather than wearing a crop top, if that's not you anymore, but you still like that part of your body, then you can wear something fitted. You can wear a bodysuit, right? There's no reason why you can't wear a bodysuit. Why can't you? If you are maybe, I don't know, if you love the big, what's a big trend right now? The oversized blazer. That's a really big trend right now. Why can't you wear an oversized blazer as a mom or as a 40-something? You can.
And just listening to you talk, everybody now has permission.
Right. I mean, allow yourself that permission to go out and do and wear what you want. And if, like I said, make it feel comfortable to you in that moment. So, like I said, if a crop top isn't comfortable for you anymore because you're not that same size you were when you were 25, it's okay. You still might want to wear something that's fitted because you still like that part of you. Right.
You still feel confident in that space.
That's right.
Are there any fashion mistakes that people make as they age? It's kind of the flip side to what we were just talking about.
I think as you age in terms of, I don't know about a fashion mistake. I think that if it feels to you like it's too much, it's too much.
Going back to listening to what your body has to say, listening to those thoughts, and being curious without that judgment.
Yeah, over the knee boots are a big one, right? A lot of women, middle-aged women, come to me and they say, "Geez, I love the knee boot, but can I still wear it? Right? Can I still wear it and not look like I'm walking the streets, right?" Yes, you can. You can. It's more about proportion than it is about anything else. So if you're petite and you're wearing a thigh-high boot that's going to come up to here, not so great. But if you select one that's just over your knee, that looks amazing.
So
right?
it's learning what works best on you.
That's right.
That it's not about hard, fast rules.
No.
Take into account where you're feeling comfortable and confident and how it feels. Right. And it's okay to be a little daring.
Yeah,
but,
my gosh,
if you're on the edge, go for it.
Yes, if you feel good, then that's great.
I've heard you talk about defining one's personal style. How can women use fashion to express their personal style and individuality?
Oh, limitless. I think that if it makes you feel good, go for it. I think that if it works for your lifestyle, go for it. I think that if you have a question in the store and you're like, oh, I love this color, but what would X think and what would this person say? That's all the more reason why you should buy it.
Let it go. Quiet the noise.
Yes. Who cares?
As a stylist, how do you help people create their own personal style?
And I just had this
What's that process like?
Yeah, I just had this conversation with my friend yesterday. So a lot of it is I ask a lot of pointed questions. So if somebody comes to me and says, well, I used to be super stylish, and now that I'm in my mid-40s, I don't feel so stylish anymore. I don't know what to wear. I don't know what feels appropriate. I ask them questions like, okay, so if you see somebody out in a restaurant and you love her outfit, what is she wearing? So I can sort of and if she says to me, well, she's wearing leather leggings and a blazer, okay, well, leather leggings, so now you're edgy. Or if she says to me, she's wearing a pearl necklace and she's wearing polka dots, okay, well, now you're preppy, right? So I take elements from what they say.
So you interpret, you give them reflections back so that they can start to hear what they're saying.
Yes.
And then they have the ability to say, yeah, that's me, or
yes.
Not so much.
Yes, a lot of active listening, and then repeating what I hear.
Yeah.
Right? So that they can give me confirmation.
Yep.
And then we just kind of go from there.
For those who might not be able to afford a personal stylist, what tips can you give to make their clothing shopping experience happier and more effective?
There are a lot of stylists out there that are that work for the store, and they don't charge you at all. So if you
go ask.
Yes, that's the only way you can do it.
It's funny. I just had that experience because before the show, talking about clothes, I'm a total yoga pants, sweatshirt. I work from home, and then all of a sudden I'm doing this TV show, and it was, there's nothing in my wardrobe. And my daughter and I went shopping, and we walked into the store. And my daughter's 30, who has a different style than I do, and I'm grateful that she loves to shop and touch everything and bring it all in. And I just want to give me 3 things and I'm done. And she said, you have to wear this. And then I got into am I too old for this?
Right.
And there was a stylist there who was about my age, and she was as if I was talking to you.
Yeah.
She just said, here, how do you feel? Forget all the drama, forget all the noise.
Right.
How do you feel in it?
Right.
And we were in and out in no time, and it was perfect. So absolutely, there are people out there that are at your fingertips.
Yes.
Because I support women of all sizes, can you share a few of your favorite places where women in larger bodies can find an empowering wardrobe?
Oh, sure. There's lots of places now. There are so many places that are size inclusive. Talbot's is great. Chico's is great. Where else? Nordstrom online has size inclusive. If you want something a little more affordable, TJ Maxx has a great, and Marshalls have great extended sizes. Yeah.
So a lot of the extended sizes may not be in the store, and you can find them online. So you need to do, unfortunately, it's still a little more challenging, and it has become more accessible as things are starting to be more talked about.
Yeah. Well, Talbot's and Chico's, I think, if you go into the store, they will have.
Awesome.
Yeah, they will have, for sure.
Okay. Before you tell us about this week's practice, are there any other words of wisdom that you would like to share about making peace with your wardrobe and yourself?
Just give yourself grace. I think that that's really important. And the other thing is if you love it and it fits you well, just go for it.
And I love to always ask my guests about a practice that they can share. What is a takeaway that our guests can learn about today that will help them?
I think you can immediately go right into your closet, right now in this moment, and just pull things that don't spark joy, right? Start there. Something that doesn't feel good to you anymore for whatever reason it is, and don't put it in the back of your closet. Either if you're not ready to part with it completely, because that does take time.
It's a process in itself.
That's right. Put it away so that you can't see it, right? Put it somewhere, give it to somebody to put away for you so that you can't access it. Because if you're having a moment of weakness, you can access it, then it's not serving you any purpose, right? So pull the stuff that doesn't spark joy and just put it aside.
That's a simple practice.
Easy.
Because going back to how you feel in your body, immediately once you touch that piece of clothing, you're either or I can't wait to put it on, I'm gonna feel great.
Yeah.
Tune in, be the expert. Thank you so much for being my guest today. And
This
today
was so
we
fun.
have learned how to reclaim our power, gain confidence in our personal style, and how to let go of the stereotype of the rules of what we are supposed to wear. If you are looking to continue the conversation, I invite you to join me for my free office hours and my monthly conversations. I also invite you to send me an email. Tell me what you are loving about the show, what guests you are looking for, what information I can share with you. You can find my office hours and my conversations on my website, and please tune in next week for Getting Healthy Without Rules.